Hi everyone, I'm JD. Welcome back to my channel. So now that I'm back from holidays, I'm back into Bible junk journaling, and I've finally done the next scripture request, which was Jeremiah 29:11 to 13 or 14. And I thought I was going to do it on this page spread, but because I hadn't put anything in this pocket yet or written anything, I decided that all my journaling for this scripture is just in this pocket. So that's kind of fun. All right, so let me read it out first. Sorry, it's a bit all over the place. I was only going to write the first part of it, and then I thought, no, the whole thing is speaking to me, so I better write it all out. So the dark lines is the first part, and then the next, the lighter brown is the second part. So I'll try to get it all in order. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for good, to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. When you pray, I will listen. If you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me. I will be found by you. I will end your captivity and restore your fortunes. I will gather you out of the nations where I've sent you and will bring you home again to your own land. It is a bit of a paraphrase, and I've cut out a couple of words here or there. But yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, so as I was just reading in that chapter and everything, looking at what was going on at that time, so the God's people, they were exiled in Babylon, and so they were, in captivity, and they weren't in their own land. And yeah, I can imagine that would be a discouraging time. You're in a strange place surrounded by strange not, strange customs and things. And before this, in a previous passage, it was just saying, keep on living here, keep working. And so it kind of just reminded me, or made me think of, don't just fall in a heap or wallow now that this is your situation in exile in a different country. But no, make the most of it. Keep living there. Keep living your life there. Make a life for yourself where you are there. And I think it was God was saying it was going to be 60 years. I think it was 60, maybe 70 or 60 years that after 60 years, then God would bring them back to their own land. And yeah, that's quite a long time, right? But this is the encouragement that he had for them. I have plans for you. They are plans for good. They're to prosper you, plans to give you a hope and a future, because they might have thought, well, now that we're in exile, it's all gone. It's all hopeless. All hope is lost. What's the point? It's not going to come good again or anything. And so, yeah, he's encouraging them in their exile, in their tough situation, and his promise, yeah, that he will restore their fortunes, who will end their captivity, who will free them and bring them home. And not only that, but when you pray, I will listen. So he's saying, while you're there, while you're in exile, while you're in this place, when you pray there, I will listen. If you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me. I will be found by you. So again, they could think, well, now that we're in exile, well, God doesn't want anything to do with us anymore. So, okay, we're on our own. But he's just saying, no, no, no. I'm still with you. I'm still here. I still hear you. And that promise, this really reminds me of that whole scripture, ask, seek, knock, seek the Lord and you will find him. That's something that was really, I don't know, impressed upon me a while ago in my Christian journey, that it's a promise. Like, if you seek him, you will find him. If you seek him purely just for him, you will find him. And that's always encouraging, definitely, especially when you're going through hard times and all that kind of stuff. So, and the fact that, yeah, he will always listen to your prayers and everything, no matter what you're going through. So that's just, yeah, a bit of context to help me kind of, because yeah, it's like, how does this relate to now? Like, I'm not in exile, I'm not in captivity or anything, I'm not in a different land, all this kind of stuff. But I guess this just encourages me in those times where it feels disheartening, in hard times, in times where it feels like I'm lost or confused or just not at home. I don't feel comfortable or I don't feel like I belong or something like that. In those times, I can always be comforted knowing, that He will always listen to me and I will always find Him even in those times, and that those times will end because, He's my rescuer. I think I wrote that here. Yeah, God is my rescuer and my restorer. So that's what this kind of speaks to me about. And the whole idea, that God has a plan for my life. So even if things are going well or whatever, I can still maybe feel like, oh, my life has no direction, or, what's the grand purpose here? What's the bigger picture here? What's the point of even living? This kind of thing. I can struggle at times with existentialism. So this would always encourage me in those times as well. God does have a plan for my life, and it's a plan for good, to prosper me. He has a future for me, and this is my hope, that I'm not just walking around on this earth wasting my time and wasting God's time. That no, I'm actually here for a reason, because He's got me here for a reason. So anytime I lose sight of, purpose in my life, like the reason for me being here, I can remember I was created by God and that I am here for a reason. And especially, it reminded me, like, I guess by analogy, I haven't been in captivity before or in a foreign land, in exile, but going through depression can definitely feel like you're in a foreign land, when your thoughts are just so warped and twisted, clouded by depression, and it just obviously feels horrible and confusing and dark and all of that. And especially in my depression, that's a time when I especially, hey Keanu, question things like, what am I even doing here? Like, what's the purpose and all that kind of stuff. So especially in those times, you can always just know He brings me, everyone, out of captivity, and He restores me and all of us. So just that encouragement, I'm never lost or meaningless. I'm on His path that He sets before me. Like, it's His plan. If it's God's plan, He's going to make it happen. Nothing can stop it. So then over here, I just have some other notes, like the promises. Yeah, I said this before. I pray God listens. Look for God. God will be found. And how it reminded me of seek, ask, knock. And sorry, I wrote the scripture down here, and when I journaled, which I do for every scripture, but I didn't write down who it was from because there were so many. I lost count of how many people requested this scripture. So maybe I can go in later and write all the names down. But yeah, so sorry if you're like, why didn't you mention me, or something like that. So, and yeah, even in the darkest times, and when you're not at home but exiled, or you feel like, metaphorically, you feel like you're not at home and you feel exiled, even from your own self, maybe from your identity or from your purpose, whatever. God can be found. Keep going, because God has a plan. He's bringing it to pass. So hold on to Him. He is enough. I love this idea that even if He doesn't rescue us or me, He is still my God, which is what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said when they were, facing the furnace. And what a great conviction, I suppose is the word, to not only follow God or live life just because He's going to save you or whatever, but you're going to do it anyway because He is just God, because He's amazing just as He is. And so that's what I'm saying here, is like, even if, I don't know, metaphorically, I was in exile for the rest of my life, God's still going to be my God in the exile. So I'm not sure if that made any sense, but yeah, just a whole bunch of thoughts there around that whole scripture or passage. So I hope that was encouraging. And yeah, it's been great seeing all of your pages as well for this scripture. And then after this, I'll jump onto Facebook, the Willowbound Journals group page, and I'll announce the next scripture request for us all to do. So if you want to join in with that or see what everyone else has done, I'll link below the Willowbound Journals Facebook group page for you there. So Cool. Thanks, guys, for watching, and let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.